Hey guys, KiraKennedy here with the December 16th edition of Vlogmas. For those of you who do not know, Vlogmas is a series where I'll be posting a video blog every single day in the month of December. To make a long story short, I didn't actually manage to get out and go watch The Last Jedi again today, partially because, again, it was just a long day at work, and I didn't feel like going out again afterwards. And I can't go see it tomorrow because I got family coming over, and it'll be rude to kind of just leave and go watch the movie again. So, I don't know. I'm heading back to my parents for a couple of days for Christmas Eve. Maybe I'll go see it with my little brother on Christmas Eve if I can get back early enough. But the long and short of it, like I mentioned yesterday, I really did enjoy the Last Jedi, and I kind of want to talk about it in a relatively spoiler-free sense, though there may be some moments where I kind of have to talk about some spoilers. When I do, you'll see a time code kind of appear here that you can skip ahead to. I know this has been a very, very divisive movie. I know when I left the theater, I know I liked it, but I don't know how, but originally I think on Facebook I'd given it like a 3.5 out of 5, and I think that might have been a little harsh on it, because I think it did some stuff that was very different, and I do appreciate that. Especially, like, I love The Force Awakens, but I'll admit it was just a rehash of A New Hope, and it was a little too safe, whereas this one, it takes a lot of risks. I mean, I'll admit there were some moments, like I said yesterday, I think I said yesterday, there were some moments that made me go, really? But, you know, they were very minor moments in terms of it. I was definitely invested in everything that was going on. You know, it made me care at some points. And there were some moments where we were all, in the theater, we were all laughing, we were all cheering. I'm pretty sure there were some moments where there were some people that were crying. There wasn't really any tear-jerking moments for me personally, I don't think, when I went to watch the movie. I think maybe the closest is one scene that wound up being a fake out. I can't say anything more than that because it's a very, very major plot point. It's almost like the driving force behind Finn and Poe's stories. Because basically all three of the main characters, Finn, Poe, and Rey, basically had their own little story arcs within the movie. Rey's basically starts actually the entire movie basically starts right where The Force Awakens left off. But Rey's particularly starts like literally right when she gives Luke Anakin's lightsaber, which, spoilers, they really still don't explain how Maz found it, but it does lead to an unintentionally funny moment. Again, if you want to avoid any really major spoilers, this one's not super major, but if you want to avoid anything, time code is right here. You can skip ahead. But basically, right after Rey hands Luke his father's lightsaber, he looks at it and literally just chucks it over his shoulder. Which, like, honest to God, everyone just kind of burst out laughing at that point because it was so unexpected, even though all the trailers were basically showing that Luke doesn't seem to want to continue the Jedi Order, especially considering, the very first trailer ends with "the Jedi have to end," which is funny because I remember reacting to the original trailer. I remember reacting to the original trailer on Facebook and saying how that line sounded super ominous. And in actuality, that line wasn't really it wasn't that ominous. It was just kind of like okay, I can see where he's coming from with this. By the way, Mark Hamill in this movie just almost completely stole the show. He basically played Luke how you'd expect him to be played at this point. Looking off of The Force Awakens, the ending of The Force Awakens, he's basically like this hermit who's basically, he's convinced himself that the Jedi are just as bad as the Sith, and he's basically like, I want no part of this. I've come to this planet to basically die, and with me, the Jedi will be no more. With my death, the Jedi will be no more. And it was very powerful stuff, actually. There were some moments where he was just kind of this very snarky, like, I want nothing to do with you. You are an idiot. You know nothing, Jon Snow. He didn't say Jon Snow, but, he was very kind of like Yoda, except kind of like Yoda, I guess, at some points, because Yoda at this point had become a hermit. Kind of like little bits of Yoda and Ben, I guess I could say. Just a lot more negative. And by Ben, I mean Kenobi, not Solo. Rey herself, her character arc was basically, a lot of it was focused around her Jedi training, this connection it's revealed she has with Kylo Ren for some reason. But yeah, like I said, the majority of Rey's arc focused on her training. I'd say the majority of Rey's arc was the closest we had to a rehash of Empire Strikes Back, but they still did it in a new enough way that it didn't feel like what happened with The Force Awakens, where you're basically copying and pasting the entire story, just changing some things to make it look like you're doing something new. As for Poe and Finn's story, Finn's was basically a reconnaissance mission with a mechanic for the Resistance, where they're basically trying to find a way to help save the Resistance from the First Order, because basically the First Order is kind of in a bit of a pickle while trying to escape. The Resistance, isn't kind of in a bit of a pickle while trying to escape the First Order, and I don't want to say anything more than that, again, due to spoilers. You're going to find that to be a running theme here. So they basically have to travel to this planet and find a guy who can help them out. And the majority of it is kind of Finn learning to be more courageous and and kind of accept his place as part of the Resistance. He even gets a really, really badass one-liner to kind of cap off his development there. And then you have Poe, who, while he doesn't see as much action as Finn or Rey do, if you can really call what Rey is doing action, like her real big fight scene isn't really till closer to the end. And but his is more of a character development arc, because he starts off as a bit impulsive, and then he kind of learns to take on more of a leadership role. I think Rian Johnson is trying to hint that maybe the trilogy, either the trilogy will end or the trilogy will end this specific way, or they're kind of grooming him to start episode 9, maybe taking command of the Resistance or something. I don't know for sure, but I definitely got the sense that there's something big being planned for Poe. Another thing I really do like is that for a middle trilogy, for the middle part of a trilogy, especially considering there's also another trilogy that's going to be happening after this, so there's going to be episodes 10, 11, and 12 being directed by Rian Johnson, the guy who directed this movie. This movie was definitely a lot more optimistic than Empire was. Empire was all gloom and doom and just like, oh, we're getting our asses kicked here. Even Attack of the Clones was very, for a middle part of the trilogy, was very kind of like, we're setting things up for Revenge of the Sith, and we're just kind of dropping threads here. This one, minus the references to The Force Awakens, this could have theoretically been where the story of the second trilogy ends, because this one was very, very optimistic, and really the only thing that could lead it into the third movie of this trilogy, episode 9, basically, is that the war is still going on and the First Order hasn't been defeated yet. I don't want to say anything more than that because, again, spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything here for you guys because I really do want you to go see this movie. even as divisive as it is, and even though I had my doubts about just how good it was. And the other thing that's definitely, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this, was Carrie Fisher in this movie. She just commanded the screen, and this was a hell of a send-off for her. I don't want to say like what it is, but she has like a really, really big crowning moment in this movie, and it's kind of one of those things like, coming out of this movie, it felt bittersweet because, you know, we're never gonna see her in another movie again, and I would have loved to have seen what she did in it for episode 9, for sure. I don't know where they're gonna go with this for episode 9. Whether they're going to take the Peter Cushing route, where, for those of you who have seen Rogue One, basically Peter Cushing was General Tarkin was played by a CG Peter Cushing. It was one of those things. It was kind of noticeable and it was kind of awkward, but they did it just for the sake of they clearly needed Tarkin for the story. I don't know if they're going to go that route or if her daughter Billie Lourd, who is in this movie as well, and it's not even a cameo, it's a pretty prominent role actually, if she's going to take over as commander, like maybe Leia dies off screen, which I hope isn't the route Abrams takes, because that's disrespectful. You know, such a badass character like Princess Leia and such a badass actress like Carrie Fisher does not deserve a death off screen. Though I think if the themes we've been getting from this movie, I can't say it due to spoilers, but I think there's a theme being run here, especially considering there's a running theme in this movie. It's very obvious because Kylo Ren outright says it. I want to talk about it. I really do. You can tell how excited I am to want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys because even though again the movie flat out says this message, this theme kind of, I kind of feel like that theme is going to continue on into episode 9. Actually, since I mentioned Kylo Ren, I do want to mention that in this movie he was Adam Driver was. There were moments where Adam Driver was just completely hilarious in this role, basically taking the running theme of his temper from The Force Awakens and just kind of cranking it up to 11. Like, there's a moment in the final battle where he's basically telling his entire armada to focus on this one target and just concentrate all their fire right there. And this goes on, the firing goes on for like a good 2 minutes. And then when they're all done and the dust is kind of, it hasn't settled yet, his general just kind of looks at him and is like, yeah, I think we got him. And it was just hilarious. General Weasley, or General Hux in this movie, I call him General Weasley because his actor played Bill Weasley in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. He had these moments where it was kind of like, it just showed him how spineless he kind of was. I don't remember much from The Force Awakens, but I do remember him kind of being a bit of a forgettable character there. Here, he was memorable for the fact that he was just completely gutless in this movie. Snoke, I don't want to say much about him because there is a major plot point surrounding him that's kind of a big moment in the movie, and I don't want to say anything past that. Yeah, there's not really much else I feel like I could say about this movie without giving major spoilers to you guys. If I do manage to sit down if I am able to go kind of see it again before the month of December's up, I'll definitely do one of my Vlogmas videos as a kind of spoiler talks style review. I know most people usually do the spoiler-free review and the spoiler-heavy review kind of in the same day here on YouTube, but I feel like I have to watch it again before I do like a really spoiler-heavy review. But for those of you who have seen the movie, again, I'm going to pose the same question I said yesterday. What did you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys agree with the huge chunk of people on Rotten Tomatoes who think this movie was absolute garbage because it put too much focus on Rey and the male characters did absolutely nothing, even though I specifically just said earlier in this review that everyone had their own story arc, including Luke, Leia, Poe, and Finn. You know, it wasn't just the Rey show. And I definitely do want to see this again, even if it's in theory. Even if I have to wait until it comes out on DVD, I do want to see this again, because this was a good movie. And me personally, I really did enjoy it. I don't usually give numerical ratings off of anything outside of Facebook. And movies like this are the reason why, because I don't think I could justify giving it a proper rating, because I'm kind of all over the place on it. Like, most of it, I definitely love it. I definitely love this movie, but I can't really quantify how much I loved it. So I can't give it a grade. I can't give it kind of a score or anything. But again, what did you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. That was a bit of a roundabout way of getting it, and this is going to be probably one of the longest vlogs I do as part of Vlogmas, and I do apologize for that. So, with all that out of the way, thank you guys, as always, for watching. If you guys would like to follow me on social media, the links are down below in the description. If you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, you can always check out my coffee page. The link, again, is down below in the description. And, of course, if you'd like to check out any of my past work, my Let's Plays, my stream archives, pardon me, even my reviews, you can do so at peanutbutterdisaster.com. So until tomorrow, I'm KiraKennedy, and thank you for watching.
Peanut butter disaster.